Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Tuesday, June 29th, 2021. And our top story today, older entrepreneurship, jumping in to build a small business. Well, joining me now to discuss this and a lot more is Carrie Hannon. She's an author and columnist. You can find her work in such places as the New York Times, Market Watch, PBS Next Avenue, and so many other places. Carrie, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Absolutely. Hey, Jeff, it's really great to be here as always.
Yeah, and I know we were talking beforehand, you're a prolific writer. You write a lot of books on entrepreneurship, on what you can do post 50 to set yourself up for success. Before we kind of get into older entrepreneurship, any ideas or insights into what books may be coming down the pike that you might be able to tell us about?
For myself, I will have a new book out later in the fall called In Control, How to Succeed in the New World of Work. And that's it's with McGraw-Hill, and it's sort of looking at what's gone on in the last year or so and how has, the workplace changed for people over 50 and, some of the trends coming out of the pandemic. So I'm still in the process of tweaking it and so forth, but fingers crossed, you'll see it at the end of the year.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to chatting about that when it does get released. All right, let's jump into it. I know this is one of your favorite topics. We've got about, 2 segments to talk about this. Let's talk about older entrepreneurship. Now seems like a great time, or any time really seems like a great time when you're retiring, looking for something to do. One thing to do, create a business, Carrie.
Yeah, Jeff, it's really, and it's actually, when we talk about the pandemic, it is a trend I see coming out of the pandemic as well. Older workers over 50 who were laid off or took an early retirement package last year because employers were dangling those out there. And then they go, you know what? Yeah, I'm not really done yet. and so it's a great way, in the way the world is today, virtually, you can start a business from your home office and your computer. You don't need bricks and mortar. So you can start small as a consulting business. And it could be, expanded into something much more than that. But, I've talked to entrepreneurs in all different shapes and sizes, and it really is a viable route for entrepreneurs in this age group. And in fact, it is the fastest growing segment of the population worldwide starting businesses.
And, I was reading your article, and this was really encouraged me to reach out to you. 30 million small businesses, 2/3 of whom that provide 2/3 of the jobs here in the United States. So this is not a small segment of the market. It contributes over 44% to the gross domestic product of the United States. So we're talking about a big swath of people, and it seems to be growing, as you're indicating in your article, for older entrepreneurs.
It's the real spine of the economy. Small businesses have always been sort of the heart of the U.S. economy, and older entrepreneurs who are staying in the game, they're not stepping out at 60 or 65 or what have you. By starting their own businesses, they kind of have an opportunity to continue to work a bit on their own terms, contribute to the economy, and in ways of not only producing products and services, but paying taxes and hiring people. And so providing employment. There's so many benefits to having small businesses, and particularly this segment continuing to work and contribute.
Is this a function, Carrie, of, we've been talking about discrimination, age discrimination. Is this a function of people maybe getting priced out of the market, the job market, and saying, look, I have something to contribute here. I want to do something that benefits me, and this is a way to doing that?
Yeah, Jeff, it's absolutely, you nailed something right there. There's a sense of frustration for workers who stepped out of the workplace in this age category, whether by choice or not, trying to stay relevant and get hired. And ageism is just pervasive in the culture, and no amount of lip service is going to change that, although we're working on it. But this is one way you can say, hey, you have a little chutzpah, a little faith in yourself, and you say, I've got skills, I've got something to contribute, and I'm going to take control of this, and I don't have to beg somebody for a job to control my destiny. And this is a real sense of empowerment and an ability to engage with all the stuff you've learned over your career. So I love it. And you can start in baby steps. It doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to invest $20,000, $30,000. You don't. You can start a business with a very small capital infusion.
And here's the irony of all ironies is that small businesses, as we said at the beginning, employ a lot of people. This is a great way for young people to get a foot in the door. And we have talked with you before about mentorship. If you go to work for a small business as a younger person, you have the opportunity to learn from someone with a lot of experience, get your foot in the door. Who knows where that takes you, Carrie? So it's the ironies of all ironies. People may be getting priced out of the market, creating a new business, and now they're working with younger people and instilling with them learning information that they can have that's very valuable to them in the future.
Yeah, it's providing a network for a younger worker as well. It's a sense of just sharing your experience and kind of, I've been there, I've done that, a ballast. And so the other point to make here, Jeff, is that often younger workers are having trouble finding work as well. It's not so easy when you're in 20s. I love the opportunities that present themselves where you have a senior entrepreneur pairing up with a younger entrepreneur, and whether it's just for a short period of time or for a longer business plan, this is a dynamic combination on so many levels. And so I'm really hoping to see more of this as we move forward, but I'm already seeing great evidence that this is happening, and it's just super positive.
And we talked about a book that you wrote, I think it was in 2020, July of 2020, if I'm not mistaken, Great Pajama Jobs, is that correct?
Yeah,
did I get the title right? And I guess the audience should know, like, I just give some broad topics to the guests, but I don't really write the questions in advance, so they're always probably caught off guard a little bit. But Great Pajama Jobs, this kind of fits real nicely into that. You can do a whole sort of things, whole host of things from home, in your pajamas, in your PJs, in a pair of shorts. No one has to know, especially with Zoom. You're just seeing them from the sternum up. As we are on this show, but there are some great things that you can be doing as a young person, as a mature person, to benefit yourself in the marketplace.
Oh, absolutely. Remote jobs. First of all, again, a second theme that's really come out of the pandemic is this whole notion of working remotely is out of the bottle. The genie's out of the bottle. Employers have figured out, hey, this can work. And, workers are productive, the performance is great, and it's cost less, right? And for the worker, it's this, no matter what age you are, this sense of autonomy of being treated as a grown-up, that you can get your work done, believe it or not, without somebody looking over your shoulder all the time. And sort of this flexibility of the hours you do work. Not every situation is that way, but often you can make it more workable. And if you're caregiving for, a senior relative, a mom, a dad, whatever it might be, or a kid, a young child, this remote work can be a really positive way to continue in the workplace and doing work you love, but also a little bit more on your terms.
Yeah. Well, Carrie, I need to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about some of the resources available to older entrepreneurs, but also other, maybe younger entrepreneurs as well. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking to author and columnist Carrie Hannon. Carrie, thanks for staying with us this morning.
You bet. I love being with you, Jeff. This is great.
Yeah, it's great chatting with you. And I love chatting about the articles you write, the books. You have a really great perspective. You know, in the article that really piqued my interest and caused me to reach out for you, I know you had a conversation with the new Small Business Administration director or secretary. I don't know if it's secretary, cabinet level
Administrator.
position. But there are a lot of resources available to both older entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, minority entrepreneurs.
Yeah, the SBA, the Small Business Administration, is really trying to do the right thing for small business owners. It's tough. I mean, it's a huge organization here, an agency here in Washington. And Secretary Guzman has come in. She's well versed in this. She grew up in an entrepreneurial family. She started businesses herself, and she worked in California with entrepreneurs, so she gets it. She started all kinds of ways to try to streamline it, to make the technology a little smoother for business owners trying to access the resources there. But let me say this, there are some great ones, and there have been in place for a while, but she's really trying to sharpen them up. So we've got SCORE, which is score.org, I believe, is the SCORE.org. It's part of the SBA. It pairs a senior person, a retired executive of some sort, with somebody starting a business to kind of help you. They're all over the country in different locations, and you can search that online for someone near you. And they help you with business plans. They help you with, finding financing, all kinds of things, just someone to knock ideas around with. I love SCORE. It's hit or miss. Not everyone's perfect. You might not find the perfect person, but keep at it. The economic development centers that the SBA runs around the country, also great resources, good online resources as well. For women business owners, minority business owners, they have specialty offshoots of that. And there's also, Secretary Guzman talked to me a lot about the opportunities that exist for entrepreneurs of all ages to access federal contract jobs. And this is big. And so in my article that I wrote about this for PBS Next Avenue, that it was also on Forbes and on MarketWatch, so you can seek it out, anyone who's looking for the exact links to these. But there's some great ways to kind of prepare yourself to how do you go about getting one of these federal contracts, because they have a mandate of a certain number that need to go to women business owners, to minority business owners. So please, take a look at how can your business really profit from this kind of opportunity.
And one thing to be aware of, I think, that a lot of people who are just jumping, like myself, I had worked for other people my entire career, almost 30 years, and then just jumped into entrepreneurship. Whether you're an older entrepreneur, a minority entrepreneur, a woman entrepreneur, or just an entrepreneur, you wear multiple hats. When you are starting at ground zero, you're doing it all.
It is so true, Jeff. And what I love about the world that we're in today is you don't have to hire, and maybe this isn't the best thing for workers, but you can hire contract workers. So you don't necessarily have to have people on staff, on board, where you have benefits and everything that you're responsible for. You can hire someone to be your virtual assistant. You can hire someone to be your virtual bookkeeper, to zip in once or twice a month to help you clean things up or do invoicing. There's all kinds of ways that with this new, flex jobs and that sort of thing, that we can find people to help us who, it doesn't have to be in our hometown. They can be in Kansas, or they can be in Missouri, wherever it is, Montana. And if they have the skills to help you out, it's really an affordable way to say, okay, yes, I have to wear these multiple hats. Ultimately, it's my face on this business. But yeah, I can delegate. I can delegate some of this out. And that's what you need to do as a business owner, to not try to do it all.
And Carrie, you talked earlier in the segment about capitalizing, or not capitalizing, getting capital, or getting money. And you talked in the last segment, it doesn't take a lot of money to start a business, because especially an online business, because a lot of it is just sweat equity. But there are ways for entrepreneurs to get access to capital. They can do that through the SBA. I know we saw the Paycheck Protection Program. I think one of the things that was done with Secretary Guzman coming in is she kind of revamped the EIDL loan, the EIDL loan. I think it's the economic injury something. You know the acronyms, I don't. But there are ways to access capital if you need it. But of course, you want to have a good business plan there too.
Oh, you need to have a business plan. You have to also show you have a little skin in the game yourself. You have to be able to invest a little bit yourself. But, you might have a relationship with a local banker, that you have a personal banking relationship, or someone who really understands your industry, that has worked with other business owners in that category, that understands what your needs are. So those are good places. Friends and family. That's where most entrepreneurs find capital, and self-funding is the number one way. So I always encourage people to try to be financially fit before they start launching. Take your time, make sure that you have. Almost every entrepreneur I've ever talked to, when I say, what is one thing you wish you had done differently? They say, I wish I had had more money. Because even though you don't need a lot to start, you need to be cognizant that you might not be able to pay yourself initially, and not certainly what maybe you made in your previous job at first. It will grow, but you need to have a plan for that. Yeah, and I can tell you, the other thing is managing your stress and my anxiety. I think as an entrepreneur, and I'm a year away from being 50, that there's a lot of anxiety that comes managing how you manage your emotions, Carrie. And maybe this is more of a psychological discussion, but that's really important. How, just in general, how you respond to things, really important. And when you're an entrepreneur, you got it all on the line, and you've got a family, or, I have a wife and 2 cats, there's anxiety that builds up too. Yeah, and that's right. There's so many great ways that we can learn to manage that stress. And Jeff, we talked about before, if you can find a way to delegate a little bit of that responsibility, you need to be understanding that it may start off great. You're going to have some setbacks. So you have to ride with the tide a little bit and be prepared for that. You want to have people on board with you, your friends and family supporting you. And if you can get a network of other entrepreneurs that you can connect with, that you can share war stories with, or, good things, share resources, someone in your community. But again, virtually, we don't need to have them in our community. But I think having a little group to go to that you can feel, because your wife doesn't necessarily want to hear about your business woes all the time, or the successes for sure. But so I think having that kind of group is important to try to put together. And again, there's all kinds of ways of having. This is a little woo-woo, but a meditation practice, or yoga, tai chi, something you do that kind of centers yourself, that kind of helps you say, okay, I can step away for a little while and just find that piece of quiet that I need in order to regain my strength. So, for me, I've been running my own business for a long time now, but I find walking my dog super helpful. That's a way to get the mental clarity you need. You need to push back away from the desk, step out, stand up, do some exercise. Carrie Hannon, after this interview, I'm on my way out to do a walk. Great to chat with you as always. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you back on again very soon. Thanks so much, Jeff. What fun. And that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the information in retirement, markets, technology, personal finance, so much more, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. We're back again tomorrow, so until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Are you being audited, and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.